Welcome to Real Messy Moms, a funny and honest mom podcast about motherhood, parenting, and real mom life.
We're two moms sharing the chaos, the laughs, and all the real talk about raising kids, parenting struggles, and the ups and downs of modern motherhood.
So grab your coffee and join us for some real mom talk.
Okay, cheers. Cheers. Happy whatever day of the week it is today.
I don't even know anymore. Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Good old hump day.
Just went for an appointment and she was like, today's Thursday. And I was like, fuck, it's already Thursday. That means the weekend's coming up.
She said today was Thursday.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't think it is.
She's on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We forgive her.
Mm-hmm.
How was your week?
My week was interesting.
Okay.
I made a big decision this week.
Okay.
I decided to part ways with my corporate job because it
Wow.
was not working for us for a variety of reasons. One being that the commute was okay, but it was proving to be pretty challenging once we got into it. Commuting an hour every day is unpredictable because sometimes there's like an accident or traffic or things that you can't control. So
I want to stop you because I find it interesting. And I think it also speaks a lot to like when you take on a new opportunity, knowing that there's a commute. Like I remember in our first episode where you talked about your new job,
I
you were
liked
saying
it.
the commute was like a little mini vacation.
Yeah, it was until it wasn't, which
Yeah.
I love that saying because, like I said, I think I said that about our daycare too. But I still enjoy it. Like I genuinely love driving
Mhm.
by myself. Good audiobook. Listen to a lot of books, but it was impacting my family
Yeah.
because when I'm not there, then my husband has to do dinner and pick up alone, and then by the time I get home, the kids are like missing me, overstimulated, hungry, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So after about 7 or 8 weeks of that, it was just time that I acknowledged that this wasn't working. But that wasn't like the driving factor of making this change. The driving factor of making this change is that I want to say like I was a little catfished
100%.
in terms of my opportunity.
So for listeners, obviously I know the situation. I'm very excited for Mallory to share the situation because
You've been here for the
for the full ride,
Yeah.
and I think it's a very good
like
decision.
unpredictable text. Like probably when my name popped up on your phone, you're like, what the fuck now?
I was like, what tea are we getting into?
So I know what I need, right? Like I'm not like naive. I need, as a working mom, like
Yeah.
flexibility. I need a supportive boss. I don't just need someone who says they're supportive, but like what does support actually like feel like? And I saw this thing on LinkedIn the other day that was like culture at work is how people feel on Sunday nights before they're going back to work. And I was like, I dreaded going into work every day. And it wasn't just like, I missed my kids, but like that wasn't it. It was what's going to happen this week that's going to set off my boss because of like flexibility concerns or things like that.
Which actually, to know, you did, and it was also stated in one of our previous episodes, you did ask about this
I did.
during your interview process.
And that's why I say catfish.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like what I talked about in terms of like asking all the questions, because I don't want to work for somebody that's not like flexible or understanding. And I would rather stay at a job that is like less or like not less, but I'd rather less money for a better like boss and flexibility.
Yeah.
So I asked a lot of questions in terms of that. The answers that I provided made me think that this was like a very flexible working environment until one of my kids was sick. And then the next week, doctor's appointments, like if your kid gets sick and they have to go to the doctors. The thing with 2 kids too is like one gets sick, then the other one drops down like a couple days later, and then mom and dad get sick. And so it's not like one sick day that's the issue. It's like we're talking about like a long-term thing. And I have never been like made to take like a 30 minutes of vacation PTO to like step out and pick up my kid or have them home with me and you're like forced to take vacation. I will die on this hill that sick days, if your child's like sick and you're like truly unable to work, you should be offered like some type of sick day offering. Moms should not have to burn through every one of their vacation days just to keep their family alive. And at this point, like, I worked there for 8 weeks, and I had already burned through, like, 9 of my vacation days because I was forced to take, like, maybe not 9, maybe, like, 6, but still, that's, like, a week vacation. So now we're making the decision between, do we stay home with our kids who are sick,
Mhm.
or do we take, like, a family
Yeah.
vacation? And so, yeah, it was just a really, I don't wanna say toxic, but kind of toxic environment in terms of support, and that I was dreading. Every day, I would cry in my way to work, and I'm not a crying person, like, it takes a lot. I'm a pretty, like, strong-willed, I can hold my own in a conversation, but I think the thing that bothered me the most is I have no problem saying, like, I need time off for my kids, or I need to do this, or I
Mhm.
need to do that. But when your credibility and ability to do a job is questioned because you're a mom,
Mhm.
that's when I was like, that's like the last straw. I think the last straw is like such a like funny term, but like I found the last straw, and that was it. And so when I was starting to get questioned in my ability to do the job because I had children was really not fun, and I just couldn't
Which
work in that environment.
is so incredibly discriminatory too,
Oh, for sure it is.
especially because your boss had children
Mm.
and who would have been young at one point and should understand. I also want to note to the listeners that she had a female boss that, like I said, was a mother. And that's just like beyond fucked up to not
Mhm.
resonate with what someone's going through when you obviously would have gone through it yourself.
Yeah, and as a manager, like, the first thing I tell my staff is, like, "I don't care when you're working. I don't look at what time you log in.
Yeah.
I don't look at your teams that say, like, you're green, red. I don't even know what those colors mean, to be honest. I don't care. I respect them if they're, like, do not disturb. Other than that, I
Yeah.
don't care if you're online all day. I care more about your, like, well-being, and that if you need to go for a walk for your own mental health, and I give people these examples where I'm like, if you have a doctor's appointment or you need to step out, if your work is getting done,
Yeah.
don't I don't care. I'm supportive of, like, whatever you need. I had an employee and she was like, "Well, I really wanna be there when my son's getting ready for his graduation." And I was like, "Hell yeah, girl. Yeah, you do. Like, why would you miss that for work?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're never gonna get those life moments back. Work is always gonna
Work is
fucking be
always
there,
gonna
and
be
the
there."
work is gonna keep coming. So, like, you just can't miss those things, like, for a company's bottom line.
Right. And I have never, like, not had a job, so this is, like, new to me. This is only, like, this is very fresh for this week. So I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna find something else that's, like, a little bit more supportive. I think
Mhm.
that, like, the key takeaways is that I don't know, like, I asked all the right questions. So,
Well, and
like,
that's it too, right? Like, this wasn't on you know what I mean? Like,
no.
this is truly, like, she lied to your face, and
Yeah.
you asked the right questions, and I think, like, I don't even know, learning from this, if I had to, like, guess for you, would just be like, how do you catch someone in a lie?
Yeah, and I don't think, like, I mean, if somebody's interviewing at a job and
Mhm.
they say, "What's the company culture like?" They're not gonna be like, "Well, it's, like, really fucking toxic here."
I
Like,
know,
they're not gonna
obviously.
say that. But I do think that
But that's where also tools like Glassdoor, and I've had people approach me about previous companies or current companies and ask me about culture questions. And I'm
yeah,
like, that's brilliant. You go to someone who has worked there or does work there and you ask them, right? And you don't know them. You like message them on LinkedIn, like direct
yeah.
message or friend request, and ask them. And I think that's like a brilliant approach because, like, what truly is going on behind closed doors that, like, someone, and even especially an ex-employer will tell you, or employee will tell you.
So, there was a lot of red flags, and there was red flags from, like, the beginning. Like, it
Mhm.
wasn't just, like, years and years of it. Like, there was red flags from, like, my first week, and I was concerned about that. I will say the one takeaway is that there was a moment from my first interview to starting the job where I had this very strong gut feeling that this was not the right move to make,
Mm.
but I ignored it. And that's what I'm going to start doing is like trusting my gut that gut feeling
Yeah.
is, like, so valuable.
The problem is like you didn't get that until you were there, right? So like,
No, there was a time when I was, like, negotiating
oh
my
yeah,
offer
okay.
where I had a bad interaction with somebody. It
Mhm.
wasn't that boss, but it was, like, somebody from their HR team, and I was like, "Huh," and I really should have taken that moment to step back and, like, do some research on it. So I do have some takeaways, like, I have
Got
learned,
it.
but I will say I have not, and I will not change the accommodations that working mom
No.
needs in order to survive because I'm not going to miss out on like important things with my kids, or if my kids are sick, I'm not going to have fucking Uber pick them up and bring them home with like
Right?
some person that doesn't know them just to like keep the lights on at work.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like
And you shouldn't
allow
feel
that.
bad about that either. You
No.
shouldn't feel guilty that you have to do those things as a mother, right? Like that is your role and that's what you signed up for as a mother. So you shouldn't feel guilty to someone else's, misunderstanding of what
Mhm.
it is to be a mother.
Yeah, so it's a challenge, but I feel really good about
Yeah,
this.
good. I'm very proud of you.
I mean, today was a nice day. I got my nails done, got my toes done. My kids are still in daycare, obviously, so that's not going to change because I definitely want to like get back. It's just a small little summer break. All right,
Mm.
so today we're talking about like careers, working moms. We are both working moms. So I have had both bad bosses and good bosses in terms of
Mhm.
support. What about you?
Absolutely. I've had more bad bosses than good bosses, and I have so much, like, PTSD and trauma that I still carry with me today, even though I've been at my current employer who I've only had good bosses with, even though I've moved 2 different teams, voluntarily. I have had 2 amazing bosses at my current company. 3 years later, I still see trauma in my thought processes, overthinking and, what goes on in my head, and
Mm,
it's crazy that it follows you, I feel like, for life.
yeah, for sure. I try to embody and I think about like my old bosses that I
Mhm.
had from prior to my bad experience. But what are some green flags for a good boss?
Green flags, and I think you have to be very particular with green flags because people want, like, freedom and, not a micromanager, but you also have to realize that freedom also comes with a cost. There's grades of freedom, let's say. And the freedom and the autonomy to do your job and make decisions is one thing, but the freedom in the sense that your boss is too busy to check on you and never does is not supportive, and that's a bad thing.
Mhm.
I think the green flags are particular and more particular than I think people understand or talk about. For me, though, the green flags are a flexible work environment, meaning hours, work from home, not necessarily exclusively, but to a certain degree or
Mhm.
a primary amount of the time.
And being able to like flex around that. Like if you're like,
Yeah,
okay, you have to be in the office on Mondays and Fridays or whatever. Well,
those are like
sure.
the worst fucking days.
Being able to change that up if you have
Exactly.
like an appointment on a
Something comes up.
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You're in on a Tuesday instead. Yeah, absolutely. But that goes with the flexibility too, right? I think green flags are a huge green flag, which I truly appreciate of my current employer, is the average tenure of the employees there.
That's a good one.
My company right now, the average tenure is like over 10 years.
That's really good.
Isn't that incredible?
Mhm.
I think that's pretty cool. And I've never seen that. My previous employer, the average tenure was 8 months. And I was there 3 years and I was like a VIP, MVP, whatever you call it, because I put up with the abuse that long. But yeah,
Feel like a trophy.
I should have.
Survived
No, I
the
just have the
abuse.
fucking war wounds to show it. Green flags for you.
Green flags for me is like to add on, like I think flexibility is
Yeah.
important. I think being vulnerable. Like I love when my team comes to ask me a question and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And I won't sit there and give them like some weird like scientific answer about bullshit. Like I won't
No.
I'll give them some advice and like we'll talk things through. But I love that for other leaders. And my
Yeah.
one of my old bosses from years ago, he would be like, "I don't know what the heck you're asking me. Let's talk about it."
Yeah.
And we would chit chat and go through like some possible scenarios. So I find that that's like a really big green flag
Mhm.
is when they're able to just be like, "Hey, I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
everything. Let's think it through together."
I truly appreciate that about my current VP, actually. He is so down to earth and he will acknowledge that he doesn't know everything, and he will
Mhm,
actually listen, like lend an ear and an honest opinion, and like absorb whatever you're telling him, even though I'm like 2 degrees lower than him. You know what
mhm.
I mean? And I appreciate that a lot because that's the only way that hierarchy is going to work is if it is like a well-oiled machine, right?
Yeah, and like this is oddly specific, but I've had a couple bosses that are like, "Don't come to me unless you have a possible solution to your
Mm.
problem." Sure, I understand the value to that, but it's almost like I want people to come to me with their problems. I love it if you have some like possible solutions,
Yeah.
but you can also come to me and say, "I don't know what to do about this." And
Exactly.
that's what a good leader should do
Yeah,
is that they're there to like help you troubleshoot it. And
totally.
I love the initiative of some of those things, but then there's also scenarios where you don't know the answer and you're like genuinely seeking advice on
Yeah.
certain
And
things.
then you would just waste everyone's time or your own time
Mhm.
really solutioning a problem that you truly don't have the tools to answer, right?
And then the other thing I like is when leaders, this is also oddly specific to the corporate world, they know the policies, but then there's also I wrote my thesis in my master's degree about like closing the gap between policy and practice for
Mhm.
better organizational readiness and that kind of stuff. And so I am extremely passionate because I wrote like a bazillion pages on this topic where so I'll give you a great example at the job that I just left. And they had a policy where you had to be in 2 to 3 days a week, right? And I shared an office with another manager. So if she was in, I had to book a meeting room on the other side of the building and sit in that huge meeting room by myself, away from my staff, and do Teams calls from there, which I could be at home. I'm physically at the office,
Yeah.
but in all other aspects, I'm not with my team. I'm
Yeah.
not around them. But the policy says, so it's like the policy says one thing, but what's practical? And so is it practical to have somebody sitting in isolation,
Yeah.
like
When the goal is
halfway
to have
across the
them.
building? And she was like, well, as long as you're physically at the building, we're meeting the requirements of the policy. But I was like, sure. But does that make sense? And is that actually in practice what we should be doing?
Mhm.
And so when I get that there's a reason for policies in the workplace, but when they don't make sense and when you talk about a policy and you're like, "Holy shit, that's so fucking weird. That doesn't make any sense." You're now just doing things because they're written in a document
Exactly.
versus actual practical. So I love a practical manager, leader that offers that support.
Mm.
And then on the sick kids thing, kids are going to get sick, kids are going to need you. You're going to have to like jump out and like do some stuff. I I have had a boss that has overtaken everything and been like, Give me everything and just like focus on your family." I love that,
Mhm.
but I also love is, "What do you need from
Mm.
me?" I also find it's like it feels a little bit childish for someone just to like take over your entire
Totally. Like
workload.
I can still do it. I
Yeah.
just need to not do it right this minute so I can tend to.
Yeah, and so what do you need is like, do you need time off? If you need time off and you need to delegate these things
Mhm.
to me, sure. If you need If you have your kid home and you need to have him or her on meetings or whatever, sure. If you need a bit more time to like meet these deadlines, sure. But don't just jump in there and like make assumptions. Like I had some times where like I'd be like, my kid's sick, but he's sitting here watching a movie and I'm working.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, you have to take it like a vacation day or whatever. And
That's
I'm like,
stupid.
I can still get a lot of my work done. I just need a bit more flexibility or a bit more time to answer things or whatever. And I just find that assumptions is it's kind of, pictured as support, but it's actually really detrimental because then somebody's jumping in to take over a bunch of stuff that's like
Mhm.
that's not helpful to me because it just adds to my stress and I now have a sick kid
Mhm.
and I'm like worried about
Yeah.
all of these
Job
things when you just
security.
let me handle my own.
So, something about that though, I would say, as someone who manages a team, It depends, right? Because if it's a constant thing and people have dropped the ball on things in the past or there's deadlines that need to be met, there are times where that support needs to be doing the work themselves, and that's
Mhm.
understood too.
Yeah.
So we're not I think it's not just saying that, "Don't take things off my plate." There's a time and a place, right?
Yeah, for sure. Do you ever feel that becoming a mom has changed your competency at work? Or is people have really thought you're still
Getting back to work from mat leave was hard, and that was where I was, like, very much imposter syndrome. Like, do I still know how to do this job? But it was just really, like, recalibrating my brain back into, like,
Mhm.
speaking to adults, using large words. Sometimes now I even still, like, get stuck. Even on the podcast, I'm like, what was that?" But I think it comes back to you. I mean, I know it comes back to you. I think I have a little more, not drive, but, like, there's something about it that I feel empowered by being a mom at work now because I feel like I can do it all, right?
Mhm.
And there's so many more things that I have to think about regularly now and worry about. And then on top of like killing it at my job, which I know I do. So I think that's an empowering thing for me. That's changed my mindset for sure. And it also drives me a little bit harder because I'm like, no, I can do it all. What about you?
I would say that sometimes it's like I used to have like a really sharp mind. Like I would not have to look back at emails or like check my calendar to see what my next meeting is. Like I was like
On it.
on it all the time. So I feel that now I'm like much more because I just have so much
So
to remember
much.
that I forget a lot of
Mhm.
things often. So I'm reliant on a lot of notes and support apps in that space. But that is probably self-inflicted
No, I don't think it's self-inflicted. A, you have 2 kids.
criticism
I only have
maybe.
to worry about 1. And also, why not use the tools? That's why they're available. That's exactly why they exist, is to make your life easier. And it shouldn't be something you're embarrassed of or feel shame for because if they can help you be better at your job and save some of your mental health, fucking use them, girl.
Yeah.
Use them.
What was your biggest surprise after returning to work as a parent?
That words were really hard. Words were really hard.
I think it's how inflexible a lot of workplaces are. Like 6 sick
Absolutely.
days for like most companies or 5 sick days. That's like insane. I
Yeah.
can blow through that in January with like cold and flu season.
Yeah.
And I think that I probably never took a sick day for real until I had kids.
Yeah. It was always like, I'm sick."
I'm sick. I
Yeah.
have to work from home.
Yeah.
Uh, and then
And now
also,
I'm like almost tapped out of my sick days and we haven't even hit July because Carter was sick all winter.
yeah. And I think it's the amount of things that you do. Like when I get to work in the morning, I've already lived a whole life.
Mhm.
And that is so different from when I used to get up. I used to think that I like had it all when I would go to the gym in the morning, get ready,
Yeah.
get to work for like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then power through an entire day. I was like, oh, I went to the gym this morning. And now I'm like, I've got 2 kids out the door, up, ready, breakfast for 3 people. I've packed water bottles. I've changed like 3 diapers. God
Mhm.
forbid someone has like a poop in the morning. Then we've also changed that. I prepped dinner to, like, get it ready, and then I have to get them to daycare, get to work, get into the office,
And
and
then you start your day.
then I start my day, and then the same thing in, like, reverse to get
Yeah.
home, and there's very little time for personal
Mhm.
reflection because you power through your day, and I this is why I like to be a flexible leader is because I would rather you take short 15, 20-minute break to, like,
Yeah.
have some mental health in
Breathe.
your day, and have some alone time. Whether you're a
Mhm.
parent or not a parent, it's not just for parents, it's
Mhm.
just more of, like, I went through 5 days straight without any time for myself, and it really like, I was burnt out.
Yeah. And that's all
That's
it
5
takes.
days.
Yeah.
5 days.
I mean, it could
5
just
days of
take
going.
one bad day. If you remember a while back when I cried on the floor in my gym, like
Yeah.
it could take one day, one bad day. So yeah, 5 back to back where you get no reprieve. It takes a toll. Okay, did your expectations change? of your career after having kids.
Yes. I always thought I would be like one ride up to being a CEO, and now I have zero interest in doing that. I want to like do a good job, but my career is not like my whole
Yeah.
focus. My whole focus is raising good kids, being a good wife and having a strong marriage,
Mhm.
and like just balancing all of it
Yeah.
at a good level. Nothing has to be like
Yeah.
high performing. We just have
If you don't climb the ladder, it's not detrimental anymore.
no, we just have to be on the ladder. We
Yeah,
don't have to be at the top. We just have to be somewhere in the
I love
middle.
that.
And we can't fall off the ladder, but we got to stay on and we got to do it. I
Yeah.
would say that I also always thought I'd have to like continuously keep moving up, and right now I don't have any interest in doing that. I think if the right opportunity
Mhm.
fell into my plate, I would. But I want to be, like, happy and healthy. I wanna
Mhm.
come home and be in a good mood for my kids, and I want my career to kind of support that.
Totally.
So, I think it's such an interesting time because I was reading this study that was posted on LinkedIn, and we're mid-30s,
Yeah.
right? Younger people, so people entering the workforce. So let's assume they're, like, 22-ish to
Okay.
29 was
Mhm.
the study group. They don't they don't wanna work long hours, they don't wanna work
They don't
overtime,
care to
they don't
climb.
care to do that. They just want to enjoy their
I
lives, they
know.
wanna take nice vacations, they don't have any interest in, like, going above and beyond, they
Mhm.
literally just wanna work, and so we're in this like, our age group tends to be, like, more of the middle people managers now. I
Yeah.
think at, like, 30 to 40 years old, you start
Mhm.
to get into those leadership positions. So we're having to navigate managing some of these younger
Yeah.
people that have I think it's great. I think it's so I as a
It
young
can be
person
challenging when you are trying to get things, like, above and beyond as a leader,
Mhm.
but, I mean, yeah, you have to kinda commend them for sticking to their
Taking
guns.
yeah, it's fantastic,
The
and
only thing is this was gonna be my question back is, like, do you think we're eventually gonna have, like, a fundamental issue in organizations because everyone wants to do the bare minimum?
yes. Yes, I think we'll probably
Gonna
plan it
be
for
an
episode,
epidemic.
like, 2004 are set to become leaders.
Mhm.
Will things change, right?
Well, that's it. Well, yeah, I mean, companies could in turn adopt more flexible environments and these ways of life work balance that they're trying to implement in their own lives. But I don't know how far up the ladder can those values go.
I think we're already starting to see changes, though, in the workforce, because if you look at a company that maybe has a younger or more progressive
Mhm.
CEO, like, even they're like, "We don't wanna wear dress pants to work. We
No.
just wanna wear our normal
Listen, I've worked
clothes."
at startups, but it's not all puppies and sunflowers, okay? Like,
No.
you're wondering if your check's gonna clear at the end of the week. So, there's also issues that you don't see that are because the CEOs and founders are young and unexperienced and got, a paycheck from daddy to start a company and it's become successful, right? So, I don't know if we wanna use that as the threshold
No,
or as the
but
benchmark.
there are some other companies that are, like, moving towards being, like, more
Sure,
flexible
and I
and
mean countries
more
even, like, with the 4-day work weeks, and I
Mm.
think it was Denmark, they're leading with all of these, like, 4-day work weeks, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Yes, like, yes, Denmark, go off."
And working, like, parents, like, we're not in the
Mhm.
school age yet, but, like, I was just talking to somebody today whose kid is going to kindergarten, and she's like, "The school's 9:45 until 3:30,
This is
like,
what I'm
what do I
saying.
do?"
I've always been so curious about that because, like, my kindergartner is not just gonna walk off a bus and go home and feed himself a snack and watch television. Luckily, I'm home, but if I wasn't, what do parents do? I actually don't understand. I mean, us as kids, we went to, like, an after-school daycare, and I guess those still exist, but the world is also a very different place than it was in the '90s. Dating myself here.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it'll be interesting to see, but,
yeah,
like, to answer your question in terms of, like, my career projection has definitely been
changed.
adjusted. But I will say my husband has gone the opposite way.
Mm,
So he was like very, I don't want to say stagnant in his role, but he was like in the same role for a while.
mhm.
And then after having kids, he was like, I need to make more money. I need to get a better job. I need to like, continuously move up. So he felt differently. He was like, I want to do this. I want my kids to have a really successful parent.
Right.
That's changed his perspective in terms of what he wants. For me, I just want to juggle a bunch of balls and no one dies.
That's also a huge win. I was actually the opposite. So I had these milestones that I think I've talked about this before, but by the time I hit 30, I wanted to make a certain amount of money and I wanted to be a director of a company. And I fought tooth and nail to get myself there, put up with multiple abusive situations. And I got there and I was like, I am still unhappy. And I didn't
Hmm.
have any children at this point. And I gave all of it up. And not the salary. I was fortunate that I could keep the same level of salary and go down to not a director level at a different company. And I now like don't not that I don't care, I still am passionate about what I do, but, like, if I don't climb the ladder and they just keep giving me, my increases every year and more vacation to spend with my family, I'm okay if I don't become, a leader of a division anymore. And it was at that point when I realized I was unhappy at achieving those goals that I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take a step back, I'm gonna reevaluate, and I think now I'm ready to start a family." So I had the complete opposite approach where it was like, I don't know. That's what kind of made me understand that I was ready to be a mom, which is interesting. And I don't really know the psychological factors there, but
We are not psychologists.
not at
We are
all.
not doctors and we are not psychologists.
Full disclaimer
Yeah, don't take our mental health advice is just
is just
shits and giggles.
health that's not mental.
What works for us might not work for everyone, but
That's
it could
true.
work for you. So
It could. You
put
use at your own risk. Oh my
um
goodness. Okay, let's play a game. You're gonna finish the sentence, okay?
okay.
Being a working mom is
Fucking exhausting.
it is fucking exhausting.
Like it's joy. No, it's not. It's fucking exhausting. I don't even want to like sugarcoat it.
It is.
And if you're a working mom and you're listening on your drive in, I commend you. It's
Honestly,
so
round of
hard.
applause. Round of a fucking applause.
Applause. Give yourself one if you're in the
Yes,
car or
and a
you're
pat on the
listening.
back and a kiss in the mirror.
And lower your expectations a little bit.
And I think ask your partner for help if there's someone that is open to that, like or partner or grandparents of your little or friends. I think being a working mom is so undervalued and underappreciated that it's fine to ask for help and be like, hey, listen, I have a long commute. Can you pick my kid up from school? Or can you make dinner? Or,
I'm
whatever it
solo
is.
parenting tonight. Can you come over?
You should have told me. I would have made you a lasagna.
One of my hacks as a working mom is I make the dinner before the night before so that when my
Yeah,
kids are sitting down to eat dinner tonight, I'm going to be making tomorrow's dinner so that when they come home, it's ready
love it.
and then the cycle
Yeah.
continues. So I start a cycle like on Sunday, I'll make a meal for Monday.
Mm.
And then when my kids are eating dinner and sitting at the
Mhm.
table, behaving, eating dinner on Monday, they're eating what I cooked on Sunday.
Yeah.
Then I'm making Tuesday's dinner, and then it's just like a
Mm.
vicious cycle until we order in pizza
This
on
is
Fridays.
lovely. This is
Because it's
smart.
easier to cook a meal when everyone's sitting eating,
Yeah.
and I try to sit with them. I don't cook meals where I'm, like, sitting there, like, sautéing
It's not like
something.
risotto where you're there stirring for
No,
8 hours.
no. I'll put chicken in the air fryer, and
Yeah.
it's cooking for the next night, and then once everyone's done eating, my husband usually takes them up for a bath. I'll put all the food away, and then when we get home, it's just reheating, whatever.
Perfect.
It's a fresh meal. There's usually some leftovers.
Yeah, that's great. That's really smart.
Yeah.
Tidbit for all the working moms.
I figured this out early.
Okay, my biggest workplace pet peeve is,
Unnecessary meetings.
oh my God, if this meeting could have been an email, I will cut someone.
Yeah.
I get so
Or when
angry.
there's people in the meeting that do not need to be there.
I'm usually that person. They invite me and I'm like, guys, I didn't need to be here. But also, I will actually, if people are like, I'm going to set up a meeting for this, I'm like, well, no, let's talk it through before you schedule that meeting. And I will be that person that will like do absolute everything in my power to not have the meeting. I try to flesh it out, whether back and forth in teams or even just like one-on-one calls before you invite the freaking army. I will try to nip that meeting in the bud so many times. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm trying to fight that meeting because I think it's such a waste of time.
Mhm.
And then also, a lot of those meetings will have to do with, like, legal entities or, like, whatever teams, and, like, a lot of our teams are in Europe, so then they end up being, like, 9 a.m. meetings. I actually make myself notes the night before.
Or 4 p.m. meetings, like,
No, well, I'm done at 4 p.m., so they
get
can't find me.
fucked.
Peace out.
Bye.
And it's cute too because there's some directors that know 4 p.m., like, I'm gone, I'm picking up my son, and so they, like, make a joke that I, like, turn into some, like, magical fairy at 4 p.m., and I'm just, like, gone, no one can find me. Don't If you send her a message, she'll answer in the morning, but it's just, like, it's a running joke in my, like, department that, like, I'm just a fairy that logs off at 4 and peace out. Okay, mom guilt shows up when?
My kids I didn't really start experiencing mom guilt until my 3-year-old started talking, and he
Mm,
started asking, like, "Mommy, are you coming home for dinner tonight?" And I knew I would be missing dinner because I was at work. Or he would say, "Mommy, I want you to pick me up today," and I knew I couldn't, and so that's where my mom guilt I have luckily never felt, like, a lot of mom guilt, like, I've always wholeheartedly taken time away from my kids when I need it. I've taken nights away with them.
mhm.
I have when my husband's I don't wanna say co-parenting 'cause we're still together, but, like, he's doing something and I'm, like, sitting on the couch doom scrolling because 'cause I've had, like, a whole day with the kids.
Yeah,
My mom guilt does not show up in those spaces that traditionally they do. It's my 3-year-old that fucking guilt trips me and asks me certain things, like, "Are you bringing cupcakes to my class?" Or, "Are you coming to
aw,
do this?" Or, "Can you pick me up early?" Or, "Ben's mom does this," or whatever. Those are the moments that, like, eat my soul.
for sure. Miles, what the hell, bro?
Man, I hope he listens to this one day. So sweet. The other night, my husband was putting him to bed, and he left the room. Miles is still up. I hear on the monitor, and he's like, "Please, God, could you make mommy come and lay with me?" And I'm like, "Why do you say that? Because now I feel so bad."
Yeah.
That's when my guilt shows up. So I'm
Mm.
sure when I have two that talk, it's
But I
gonna be
think, like, he obviously knows you're listening. He's doing it on purpose.
no. He was looking out the window trying to talk to God. He also went to a Christian daycare where they really centered around God. So he's my religious little guy.
Cute. Maybe he'll be like a minister
Maybe we'll
or a
see.
Jewish rabbi. Okay. My favorite productivity hack is
This is probably for my ADHD mamas, but doing something well like, so if you're forced to, like, listen to something like a meeting, I try and, like if I can, I obviously don't fold laundry in, like, a meeting where I'm, like, there, but doing something like a task
mm,
while you have to focus, so if you have to read something, I try to, like, walk on my
mm,
treadmill, I have
that's
a walking
smart.
pad because it tricks your body it keeps you busy
Mm,
and it allows you to focus in terms of being more productive. So, if you're the kind of person that like reads something and then as you're reading it, you start like, oh shit, I got to check my calendar, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. Doing something physical with your body
hmm,
that's productive really helps.
interesting. See, and it's funny because you thought of productivity in terms of like a work-life balance, and I immediately went to how am I productive more at work?
Hmm.
It's interesting mindset, but
What's your productivity hack?
honestly,
Chat GPT.
no, I am like we're like basically not allowed to use AI at work, so other than the ones I'm building. But honestly, my to-do list and the prioritization in my to-do list, I'm a big list maker, even in my personal life. Everything that I have to do goes in my calendar at a certain time so that I remember to do it. And it's fucking brilliant. That's actually my life productivity hack. Okay,
Calendar?
anyone who has a tough time remembering or just has so many things to do and wants to stay more on top of it, I schedule things in my calendar. I'll put like make lasagna at 1 p.m. during my lunch break. I'll put it in my calendar. That way the reminder it hits me 30 minutes before and I'll be like, okay, perfect. Wrap up what I'm doing, go take my lunch, make a lasagna. And I do that with literally everything. I'll do it with changing the litter box for the cat. I'll do it with packing Carter's things for school. Those maybe not so much because I kind of just like do
Do
those.
them every day?
Yeah.
I try and do that, but
It's a huge and I actually saw an influencer recently that I know personally. She was talking about she just started doing it and she was like, "This is like the greatest thing ever." And I was like, "Yeah, girl, get on the
imagine I'm
bandwagon."
trying to book a meeting with you and it's urgent and it's like Martine's making lasagna, working out, picking up her kid, doing her hair.
Yeah, which needs to be done. Okay. The best thing about being a working mom is
This is kind of vain, but, like, I'm gonna say it,
'Kay.
okay? I have been the daycare mom that looks like a hot mess,
Mm.
but there's nothing more fun than walking into your kid's daycare in, like, a good power suit and being like,
Love that for you.
yeah. You probably haven't experienced that.
No, but at the end of the day, it's funny because, like, I show up for drop off as one
Yeah,
human, and then I come for pickup as another human. And I'm usually a troll in the morning and then at
hot.
least have a face at night. And if we're going out or doing something with friends after when I'm picking him up, the teachers audibly make a comment and it kind of makes me feel bad. I'm like, yeah, I actually am a good looking person. You just never see it. But
But wearing a power suit into daycare to pick your kids up, you're wearing your heels and your suit and you grab your 2 kids and you walk in
probably
on your
feels
heels.
pretty great.
Yeah, it feels like success.
Yeah.
But then also I've rolled up looking like a dumpster fire, and I'm also successful there
That's
too,
me
so
99% of the time. I think for me, the best thing about the working mom is what I'd mentioned about like, the empowerment feeling of being able to just rock it, doing it all, you know?
Mhm.
Okay, if I had 1 extra hour every day, I would.
Right now, I feel like I have really dropped the ball on my exercise routine because
Mm,
of just sheer commuting, so I think it's that, but I also think that, like, I feel like at the end of the day, the one thing that gets prioritized on my to-do list is my
mm,
marriage, and I think not to say, like, I wanna be a better wife in that hour, but I think that if I had an extra hour every day, it would be nice to, like, do something with my husband that's, like,
yeah,
good for our relationship. Because some days we just by the time that our jobs are satisfied, we've, like,
yeah.
done something for ourselves, and we've done the
Consider,
kids and
yeah,
the house and everything, that's one thing that's always at the bottom of the list,
yeah,
unfortunately. What
that's
about you?
fair. I think if I had 1 extra hour it's a good question because my husband makes fun of me that I have the more hobbies than a retired man. So, in my mind, I'm like, I would have more time to do those things, but I actually think and it's actually funny because I was telling you this is something that Tim and I were arguing about currently, is that there's times where I will avoid doing housework, and he's gonna listen to this, and he's gonna be like, "I knew it!" Because I have so many other things going on, and they're not enjoyable to do, right? So we made laundry a purple job in my household because he really stepped up and started doing it. But I do need to take more accountability and do that more. And those chores that I don't enjoy doing, maybe I bake 1 less sourdough loaf in the day and do the chores that I don't
I
enjoy.
think, like, not to kill Tim's vibe, but one of the things that I love about you is how many different things you do. Like, you always have something interesting going on, and I think it broadens your perspective in terms of how you
But if it's
see
to the
things.
demise of my household, then it's not beneficial for
The thing
anyone.
about housework is it doesn't go away. There's always
But
fucking
it
housework.
adds up.
It does add up. For a small fee, you can do what I do, which is outsource some
I
of my
do. That's
laundry.
the thing is
But
the
laundry,
laundry.
I'll
I don't
send
know, I
JoJo
kinda
over
feel
here.
weird about people rummaging through my panties.
Yeah, but you could also like kids' laundry.
I don't mind. I like doing Carter's laundry.
Oh, I don't like the kids' laundry.
I think it's cute. Just like his little things, and then I'm like,
But the thing is that if you put an adult load of laundry in, there's like what, maybe 8 to 15 adult clothing items. When you do a kid's load of laundry, there's like 47,000 pieces of clothing that fit into the washer.
doesn't bug me.
Does it?
No.
Do you fold them all?
I fold them when I bring them, yeah.
I've given up folding. This is one of my like, I
So you just, like,
consciously
throw them in a drawer?
mhm.
Oh, that would give me anxiety.
If you saw my kids'
Mhm.
drawers, you would be shocked.
Mind you, they go in folded, and then as soon as dad goes to pick out an outfit,
They
there
destroy them, the
he
kids can't
turns
find them.
inside out the
The pajamas, I started with when Miles was a baby. I wasn't the type A mom that had, like, all these little
mm.
fucking sleepers. I was throw them in the thing from day 1
You're
before I
gonna
was
make
even
fun of
pregnant.
me. I even zip up the sleepers
No, no,
before
that
I
should be
fold them.
illegal, that's illegal.
Before I
So
fold them,
then
they
you have to
get zipped.
unzip. This is why moms are overstimulated
No,
because they're just
that brings me joy when I can take out his clothing. My clothes can sit in a laundry basket needing to be folded for like 2 weeks. Okay, not that long, but you get my vibe. As soon as his are done, they go upstairs and I fold them and it brings me joy. I
I'm
think because 'cause they're like memory related, right? My
I
clothes,
love
I'm
that
like,
for you, but
okay.
try shoving them in the drawer and then drinking a margarita.
I could drink a margarita while I fold them. Ooh, that
Mm.
makes me want a spicy marg. Anyways, Kayla, last sentence to finish. Flexibility means.
Flexibility means not keeping score of how much you need in order to be a working mom. It's not like, well, your kid was sick last week and now they're sick again, or your kid had a doctor's appointment and then you have a doctor's
Yeah.
appointment. It's it's just showing up and hoping that they get their work done and that they're a valuable member when they're there and
Yeah.
when they can be, and allowing for that. Because somebody said to me today that I was talking to, they were like, "You're not always gonna have small children." And that's the
Yeah,
thing, is that it's just
exactly.
a short period of time in your life.
Unless you
So,
keep popping them out.
I mean, yeah.
Then you'll just forever. But no, absolutely, that resonates so hard. I think that, and for me, flexibility means trusting your employee to get their stuff done and not giving a shit what else they do with their day.
I remember a couple weeks ago, my great uncle died. So my son was sick. So I needed some flexibility. Plus, the Monday sick day turned into a Wednesday follow up doctor's appointment. And then my great uncle passed away. And my boss actually wrote in my, I don't know, document that we kept track of, where she was like, a lot of unexpected things have been coming up for you lately, which you need to maintain
Oh
like
my
your
God.
workload. So think about this. You're 5 weeks into a job and you're like, well, I didn't plan great uncle dying.
Yeah.
I didn't plan that my kid was going to get sick. And I didn't plan that he would need to go back to the doctor for his
Mm.
checkup for whatever. I think he had an ear infection that week or something. And I was like, these aren't even things I can
This
control.
is life.
This is life. And so the fact that all of those happened, but to like document the
Yeah.
fact that there was 3 things in 1 week that was
She's keeping
unexpected.
track.
And I was like, I don't like that. That's like,
No,
it's
no.
not,
And that's so
because
unnecessary.
yeah, and it makes you feel like shit. And it's not like I dropped the ball on like my workload.
Well, you know what kills me is because you obviously told me some things you haven't shared today, but that she was so invested and wanted to know everything about your life, but then was like, "Oh, too many life things came up."
I
Like,
know.
this is what happens, bitch.
And I tend to overshare things. Like I'm not a closed book. Maybe
Yeah.
I should be. Maybe that's a learning that I should take away.
But you also were holding back from her and she was prying and prying and prying, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just
anyways, it
like,
sounds like you couldn't have won with her and you're better off without. So,
yeah.
I think all in all, you've done good, kid.
Now I'm on for hot mom summer.
Woo!
I'm just gonna take some time to like, I said I was gonna go running today and I
Don't jump
didn't.
into any new relationships, okay?
No.
Take time, find yourself.
I'm not gonna rebound. I would like to get back into the workforce. Like
Yes,
I'm
of
still
course.
looking, but
You hear that, folks? She's for hire.
I'm available. If you need me, I got you. I need a flexible work environment. If you don't have that, don't call me.
Yeah.
Don't slide
If you
into
don't
them.
fit the checklist of this episode, maybe don't ring her up.
And if you're a boss and you're doing some of these things,
Cut that shit out.
self-reflect.
Yeah, self-reflect.
I think I just need some time to like chill. It's been
Yeah.
a bit of a wild 3 years, and I'm looking forward to just a tiny bit of space to like bring myself back up to
Yeah,
baseline.
I think that's going to be important for you.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time. Cheers.
Toodaloo. We'll see you next time for more real talk about motherhood and parenting.